Okay, so I woke up this morning feeling not great about life and myself. And there are a couple of things that I would normally do to take care of myself in a situation like that. This is not really, good self-care best practices. This is just kind of like, emergency. Like I can tell that I'm feeling down. And so when I had a job, I was fortunate to have a job that had a lot of built-in time off. And so I always saved a few personal days for days like this as they would come up. And I would just, email everybody and say, hey, I'm going to have to take the day off. I will get to everything tomorrow if you need me for something. But I work for myself now, so things go a little bit more crazy. I have a little more control over my schedule at the same time, so I don't really need to text anybody or email anybody. I will just get my work done another day. A second thing that I would do is I would go shopping, or I would go to the library, or I would get out of the house for something. And normally when I get out of the house, that means I spend money. So, I'll buy something nice for the house or for somebody else or for myself, and just kind of treat myself to, maybe like $30 or $40 worth of spending. And then the final thing that I would sometimes do is I would tell my husband I think we needed a getaway of some sort. And so then we'd either plan an outing for the weekend or like a quick little vacation. We live in Michigan, so going up north is not out of the question, especially right now. We're kind of on the off season, so you can get some good deals on, like hotels and things like that. So those are some things that I would normally do to just I just need to get out of the current headspace that I'm in. And so a lot of times getting out of my physical space is part of that. But with my change in employment, quitting my job and going out on my own, finances are a lot less steady than they used to be. And we do try to be conservative with our finances. We try to save and not go into debt. And so, when I woke up feeling this way today, my first thought was like, oh no, I shouldn't go shopping, and I shouldn't, we shouldn't spend a lot of money on just like a little out of town trip, right? So the idea that I floated past my husband for this weekend is a staycation. And I'm actually really excited about it. I've been looking up some ideas and some stuff. And I'll kind of walk you through the process of how I am planning that staycation, just so that you can kind of get some ideas yourself if you need a little bit of a change of pace, but you can't afford to actually get out. This is for you. Okay. So here's my little page. I just got a piece of paper and I wrote Staycation on the top, and I'm going to write a little bit of a schedule. And then once I've done that, I'll sort of walk you through the steps that I took to come up with the ideas that I had there. And then you should be able to duplicate that thought process and those things when you are working on planning your own staycation. Because a lot of what you're going to enjoy doing, and that's going to help you get out of your own head if you are having a difficult time and you just need some time to rest and recuperate, is going to be based on who you are and what you enjoy doing. So for me, I'm going to be picking a mix of things that both my husband and I enjoy, and we're going to go from there. Okay, so let's get to it. We're going to start with Friday night. Basically, once my husband gets off of work for the day, I want it to feel like we are no longer at our house, but we are having a really fun getaway. Okay, so for Friday night, we're going to do dinner. We'll do a takeout meal or a freezer meal. This is mostly because I am the main cook at our house. I enjoy cooking, but I know that when I'm on vacation, I do not cook. I do not feel like cooking usually, or we just grab some snacks or do really simple meals. And so for dinner on Friday night, we will just do a takeout or freezer meal. For a little outing that evening, we'll leave our dog in her crate and check out a new bookstore in town. I found one that has a wine and coffee bar, which sounds delightful, and I've been wanting to go to it for a little bit. And so we'll just go ahead and check that out. That should be around $20 spent, unless we decide to buy a book, which would be out of our personal spending. So that's pretty good. And then for our evening activity, I think we will switch the bedrooms that we're sleeping in our house. And I know that not everybody has this space or this flexibility, but if you do have enough space to sleep in a different bedroom, that gives you the option to make it feel a little more luxe, a little more fancy. So I'm going to make sure that I wash our sheets before this weekend and get everything ready so that it really feels like a fantastic experience. We can move our pillows down, but I just really want it to feel like a fancy hotel room and not our normal room when we wake up. So we'll probably watch Hulu in bed, eat some popcorn, and that'll be our nice Friday evening. We're pretty low key anyway, and so we will really enjoy this. Okay, Saturday. We have all day to spend, and we actually already talked about what we want to do. So I'll say brunch. And again, we are spending more money during this staycation on food than we would if we just cooked groceries. But part of this is I do want it to feel like a vacation, even though we're staying home. And so eating out at some places that we love but we don't eat out at very often is going to give us that little bit of a boost for much cheaper than it would be to travel or get a hotel room and do all of those things. So use your own discretion there. If you can't go out to eat, if that's just not something that you're physically able to do or that you're not financially able to do, I would recommend picking some meals that are easy to prepare, but that you really enjoy. So like, for example, if you really like pasta with pesto, get some pasta. That's a very quick meal, very easy to prepare, but is delicious and somewhat gourmet. And grab a rotisserie chicken maybe from the store. Those are usually fairly cheap. They taste delicious and you don't have to do anything to prepare it. So just think through things that are easy, that aren't going to make you feel bad, but that are also going to be really enjoyable and kind of a treat for you. Okay. Morning, afternoon, take a walk with Nellie. Nellie is our dog, and she's part of the reason we're also doing this staycation, because if you have a dog, it does complicate things to take a really last minute spur of the moment vacation. So take a walk with Nellie at the nature center for a late lunch. Early dinner, we'll go to Chick-fil-A or KFC because I have been craving chicken recently. And they both have really delicious looking sandwiches right now. And then evening, Only Murders in the Building. I'm also going to add another activity, which is not going to cost us anything. Only Murders in the Building doesn't cost us anything extra because we're already paying for our Hulu subscription. But then also I have a bunch of art supplies just lying around at all times because I love making art. And so I'm going to say, get some drinks we enjoy and do a paint and sip. Sometimes, you need a break from just sitting on the couch and feeling like a couch potato. And so that's what we'll do when it's time to take a little bit of a break from our show. Okay. So then Sunday, my husband suggested this. We do go to church every week and we love our church. But when you're out of town, you don't go to your same church. And so we are going to actually go to a different church in our neighborhood. So I'm just going to write go to church. And then I'll write down the church that we're picking later. And then Sunday afternoon, we actually have a fun mystery game that we bought and we were wanting to do together. So we will solve that together. We usually get pizza on Sundays and we'll probably still do that, although we may change it up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the camera and just show you a little bit of a close-up here. Okay, so as you can see, we've got just a little sketch of a plan for Friday, for Saturday, and for Sunday. Okay, so as you can see, that was a really simple plan. Not a lot going on, and part of that is because I do want to leave some space, just like when you're on vacation, for those spontaneous ideas to come up. Like maybe we'll decide we want to read at a certain point during the day or take a little, day trip on Saturday to someplace that's like 30 minutes or 60 minutes away. I don't know that yet, and so I do want to leave some flexibility. But there's enough here that if we don't want to think about it, if we don't want to come up with anything else, there's enough here that we will be able to keep ourselves occupied and happy, and we will be able to relax during the weekend that we are doing our staycation. So here are some of the places that I looked for ideas for our staycation. The first is I asked ChatGPT. And now this might seem like a really really weird thing to ask ChatGPT, but it was great. I said, hey ChatGPT, this weekend I want to have a staycation with my husband and my dog. Can you recommend some things that we should do? I live in, and I put my location. And it came up with 8 ideas, some of which I had thought of, some of which I hadn't, and those were all things based on my location. So that was pretty cool. In fact, one of the things on the list, the nature center, came from that brainstorm. I had already had that idea in the past, but it reminded me like, oh yeah, I do want to take my dog there and go on a walk, so let's go ahead and go there. Another place that I find extremely helpful is Reddit. When you're trying to research something like this, there's all kinds of ideas on there. Some are really normal, some are really crazy. And so you're going to be able to find a good mix of things. One thing that my husband and I will probably do at some point during the weekend, just because we like to do this anyway, is play some video games. And that was one of the suggestions. People said things like, make a fort, stuff like that. They also said, here's how I book a getaway for really cheap using hotel points and all this sort of stuff. And when you're looking for staycation ideas, especially if you are in a relationship, I would go ahead and don't just search staycation ideas, search for date night ideas as well, because a lot of those activities that you would do for stay-at-home date nights, that's specifically what I looked at, stay-at-home date night activities, will work for staycations. I did also find this really helpful blog post that I will link to in the description, where she talked about like 25 to 30 date night ideas. And I didn't feel like these were all things that I could have come up with just by asking ChatGPT or just thinking on by myself. I think she actually had some really creative ideas. So I will list those so I will link to that as well. So that was basically what I did. I Googled around for both staycation ideas and date nights at home. And then I went ahead and put those into our schedule after talking to my husband. That's basically what we did. I will make sure that we record ourselves during the staycation and give you a recap on how it went. Okay, so we're about 5 days post staycation as I'm recording this wrap-up video. And by all accounts, my account, my husband's account, I think my dog's account too, although she cannot speak for herself, it was a success. And it was a success not just in that we had a good time, but that it really did work as a good reset button for us. And it made me in particular, I have felt a lot lighter this week. I've been a lot better able to handle challenges or things that come up. So I want to break down some of the reasons why I think that was in this section of the video, just so that you can kind of keep those in mind if you're planning your own little getaway. One of the biggest things that I think we did right was that we cleared our schedule. When you're staying home, it can be really easy to think, oh, well, I'll just squeeze in this errand or this event. And we intentionally said, no, you know what, the things we have scheduled, we are just going to cancel or postpone. We are going to make sure that we are just focusing on the staycation this weekend. And now you can't do that every weekend, but that's kind of the point of a staycation. It is like taking a trip, but not leaving your house, because we didn't have the time to get that planned. We didn't want to spend the money on a hotel and traveling. We just wanted to have that nice reset. So we did. I had a baby shower for somebody I don't know super well. And so although I said I was going to go, I went ahead and said, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it after all. I will get her the gift when I see her next. And we also messaged some friends and said, hey, we're doing a staycation this weekend. And so, normally we talk to them at a certain time on the weekend, and we said, okay, we're not going to be able to do that this weekend. We're so sorry. Do you want to reschedule? And they ended up saying like, oh yeah, that's fine. And we'll just talk to them next week. So most things can be either canceled or rescheduled if either they're not important enough to you or the need is great enough, or if you know you need a staycation, but also your weekends are super full, just block that time out and make sure that nothing gets scheduled over that time. You can use a weekend, you can take a day off and use like an evening and that day, whatever works for you. But just make sure that you clear your schedule so that you are just focusing on your getaway. The second thing that we did that I think was enormously helpful as well is we didn't just clear our schedule, we also unplugged from our regular life so that we could be present in the moment and really enjoy our time together. So that unplugging is a couple of things. I know when I hear the word unplugged, I think about not being tethered to my phone or my computer, which is obviously something that we did, and that it is really hard. I was texting about some stuff while on our staycation over the weekend, and my husband had told me accountable. He said, "Hey, do you really need to be talking about that and thinking about that right now, or can that wait until the weekdays?" And that was really helpful. There were some things for him where he started thinking about work or talking about work, and then we said, "Okay, do we want to continue this conversation, or do we just want to schedule a time at the end of the staycation to have this conversation?" Because it is something we need to talk about. It's something we need to think about. But do we really want to do that now when we're supposed to be relaxing and becoming refreshed? And so we went ahead and just slotted all of those things for Sunday night when we normally plan our weeks. And it worked out great. We were able to really know that those things were going to be taken care of, but we didn't have to focus on them right now. We could focus on the moment, we could focus on what we were doing and enjoying our time together and our time off. And it was magical. It really meant that we were able to totally relax, which I don't know about you, but that is such a blessing, being able to let all the tension out of my body, not have to worry about something or be anxious. One of the things that I did to prepare for this was I went ahead and the day before we had our staycation, I went through a list of tasks, and I actually used the dice roll system, which I'm going to do a video about next time, to prep for those tasks. And it made it really fun. And it also meant that I knocked a lot of things off of my to-do list that I wanted to do that were going to stress me out if they weren't done. So, for example, our kitchen started out the weekend clean, and I didn't really use it because we were eating out a lot, so it stayed clean. Our floors, same thing. I went ahead and vacuumed them so that they weren't messy. Our bathroom, I also, raked some leaves. We have a lot of leaves here as I'm filming this. And I just made sure that I was tending to the things around the house that I know tend to distract me and stress me out, drive me crazy. And so that when we had that weekend, we were able to relax, and I was able to go, you know what? Yeah, like maybe the yard isn't perfect, but I did rake some of the leaves, and I made progress, and I can make progress next week, and it's going to be fine. The other thing that I really liked about the staycation is that I do like being home. I'm a homebody, and I like decorating our home and making it comfortable. Our house is very cozy, and so being at home is really a joy for us, especially when we're not worried about making it perfect or what needs to be done. We were just able to relax in our space and enjoy it. And we were able to relax in our city and enjoy that. And that was amazing. Another thing that we did do with our staycation is that we tried new things. Some of those were like new activities together. Some of those were like exploring our city like we were tourists. And both of those were really awesome. They gave me a new perspective and also just a greater appreciation for the life that we get to live. And then the final thing, and I don't know if this was so much of a success, but we did do things that we gravitate to on vacations. So for example, on vacations, we like to go to bookstores and buy used books or new books, but let's be honest, I'm a used book girly. I like to have the physical book, but also not pay full price for it. Guilty. And so we went to bookstores that we'd never been to because that's something that we like to do on vacation. Also on vacations, we like to go to national parks or go on little walks. One year we went on a little waterfall trail. And so while we were on our staycation, we checked out a local park. We took our dog for a walk, and we just had a fantastic time. I know I keep talking about the great time that we had, but I really do feel like taking this staycation has been pivotal for me this week and maybe even in the coming days. I have had a lot more bandwidth for dealing with things that are stressful or frustrating. But this week I have had a lot more joy. I feel lighter. It's amazing what getting away and really, really focusing on the moment and unplugging from the things that are distracting and weighing you down can do. It gives you so much more focus and joy and clarity. And that's what I want more of in my life. So And that's what I want more of in my life. And if it's what you want more of in your life as well, I think planning a staycation can be a really good and hopefully inexpensive way for you to experience that. So yeah, I really 10 out of 10 recommend planning your staycation as soon as you can. At the very worst, it'll be some time that you spent doing things you enjoyed on a weekend or on a day off. And at the very best, it will give you a new appreciation for your life as it is now, and it'll help you to unwind and relax just a little bit more.